And away we go, episode 1331 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Friday, May 22nd, 2026. It is the Friday going into Memorial Day weekend. If you are working on this Friday, don't worry, you are not expected to be productive at all on this Friday, so enjoy yourself. We say thank you to and show respect to all of those who are serving and have served this country, as Memorial Day, of course, is in honor of all U.S. military personnel who have died while serving in the armed forces, and we hope that you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, whatever you are doing, whoever you are doing it with. Hello and welcome to this Friday installment of the Al Galdi podcast. Next segment, a conversation with Washington Commanders insider Nicki Jhabvala of The Athletic, as we will preview 2026 Washington Commanders OTAs, which begin next week. Yes, a preview of OTAs. Galdi, what are you, sick? The answer is yes, but we are going to cover a lot of ground as Nicki is one of the top people covering the team. Among the items that we'll discuss, what truly matters at these offseason practices, what Nicki's looking forward to hearing from quarterback Jayden Daniels, whether Daniels is poised for a big bounce-back season, analysis of Washington's competition at kicker, the significance of the departure of Senior Vice President of Football Initiatives Dave Gardi to become the Tennessee Titans Executive Vice President of Football Operations, and the extent to which head coach Dan Quinn is on the hot seat. Nicki Jhabvala, next segment. And also on the show, I'll talk Washington Nationals. They in MLB's 2026 regular season now are 25-26. They unfortunately did not get above 500. A 2-1 loss to the New York Mets at Nationals Park on Thursday for a split of a 4-game series to conclude a 4-3 homestand. But starting pitcher Cade Cavalli did very well. 2 runs in 7 innings, 9 strikeouts versus 1 walk. Is Cavalli blossoming into the pitcher who he was drafted to be? Additionally, during our Nats segment, we'll pay homage to Howard Fendrich, longtime writer for the Associated Press. We on Thursday afternoon learned that he had died. He was just 55. And speaking of people dying, one of the biggest stars in NASCAR history, Kyle Busch, dead at 41. Shocking news on Thursday afternoon. A 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. His team earlier Thursday had indicated that he had been hospitalized with a severe illness, and then came this awful news that he had passed away. From a Washington, D.C. area perspective, Kyle Busch, a longtime driver for Joe Gibbs Racing. Kyle Busch notched 63 NASCAR Cup Series wins. 56 of them came with Joe Gibbs Racing. And as you may recall, I earlier this year on this podcast had some fun in asking what means more to Joe Gibbs, him having won 3 Super Bowls as Washington Redskins head coach, or him having won 5 NASCAR Cup Series championships as owner and founder of Joe Gibbs Racing. Well, Kyle Busch was a massive part of the success of Joe Gibbs Racing. And another Redskins connection, Kyle Busch had a legendary feud with another driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is a huge Washington Redskins / Washington football team / Washington Commanders fan. Dale Earnhardt Jr. might be the most famous fan of our football team. Earnhardt on Thursday evening in a post on X, quote, "Kyle and I had a really challenging existence for many years, but we luckily took the time to figure out our differences." And that was something he instigated with a conversation in the bus around how we each managed our racing teams. I was super eager for us to get on better terms, but it was he who made the effort for that to be possible. We did some media together also to laugh through some of the things we put each other through many years ago. Most recently, we had even been discussing him running my late model at Wilkesboro this summer. He seemed extremely happy, and we had planned to meet up next Thursday to get his seat to the shop. He laughed over the idea of his fans and JRM fans having to cheer in unison during that race. Kyle was one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR history. No one can deny that, but he was also a father, a husband, brother, son, and a friend to many. My heart is broken for the Busch family. I will never be able to make sense of this loss, but I am thankful that we had found a way to become friends. End quote. Really cool of Dale Earnhardt Jr. to write that. Kyle Busch actually just won a race. He last Friday night won the 2026 EcoSave 200, a race in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He, after the win, spoke with Fox Sports' Amanda Busick, and man, does this conversation hit differently now. Here you go.
And a bow in front of the fans that are all on their feet down here at the Monster Mile. And Michael Waltrip said earlier in the race that a confident Kyle Busch is a dangerous Kyle Busch. Your 69th victory in this series, your 5th right here. Why do these moments never get old, Kyle?
Because you never know when the last one is, So I know all too well, unfortunately, with the Cup stuff, but here with the truck stuff right now is it's awesome just to be a part of Spire Motorsports. Thanks to Jeff and Dan and Mr. H for the opportunity. HendrickCars.com. I'm sure it looked great out front leading the race, and it wasn't just Kyle Larson doing it. So feels good to have another Kyle being able to do it and putting ourselves in victory lane. So love coming to Dover. Always one of my favorite places to race, and definitely some managing of the fuel there, managing of the tires there, and it was an interesting, just kind of strategic battle, I guess, from the driver's seat. And, thanks to all the fans. Appreciate everybody for being here at Dover and the Monster Mile for All-Star Weekend. We thank you, and hopefully we have another great O'Reilly race tomorrow and an even better Cup race on Sunday.
Wow. Rest in peace, Kyle Busch. Rest in peace, Howard Fendrich. On a lighter note, no game for the reeling Baltimore Orioles on Thursday. They, on Thursday afternoon, did announce that relief pitcher Jose Espada had cleared outright waivers and had been assigned to AAA Norfolk, and announced that catcher Maverick Handley had been claimed off waivers by the Atlanta Braves. But also with the O's on Thursday was an apology tour, or an explanation tour, by MASN Orioles analyst Ben McDonald, who during the O's Extra postgame show on MASN on Wednesday afternoon ripped the team off a 5-3 loss at the Tampa Bay Rays on Wednesday afternoon to complete a 3-game sweep in a game in which the O's blew a 3-1 eighth-inning lead by allowing 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th. The O's are a mess right now. More on that mess shortly. Big Ben sounded off. Good for him for doing that. Now, I didn't necessarily agree with everything that he said, but I certainly appreciated the passion. Now he may have gotten a talking to for saying what he said, because he on Thursday went on various shows explaining what he said and, shall we say, softening what he said. But I like Ben McDonald. I think that he does a good job as an analyst. And also, before we get to feedback, some Washington Capitals news. They on Thursday morning announced having hired Ray Bennett as an assistant coach. He's 64, has 25 seasons of NHL coaching experience, spent this season as an assistant coach for the New York Islanders. He prior to that served as an assistant coach for the Colorado Avalanche for 8 seasons, including winning the Stanley Cup with the team in 2022. And the Caps hiring Ray Bennett comes off the team on April 27th, having announced that assistant coach Kirk Muller, whose contract is set to expire, was leaving the Caps. Kirk Muller was in charge of the Caps power play, which for the 2025-2026 regular season was really bad. The Caps finished number 25 out of 32 NHL teams in power play efficiency, 17.8%, and the Caps allowed 11 shorthanded goals, third most in the NHL. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, give the podcast a 5-star rating. On the podcast, we'll read whatever you write in writing a review of the podcast. And what you write can be a sports take. In other words, you don't just have to write about the podcast. Email from Yassine on the Washington Commanders and Baltimore Orioles. Writes Yassine. Good day, Al. Hope all is well with you and your family. It is time to blow up the entire Orioles roster and front office. Here is the stone cold truth. The sad reality is that this current Orioles team is closer to a full-scale rebuild again than actually contending for a playoff spot. This is a bad baseball team. It cannot hit, cannot pitch, cannot defend, and most importantly, cannot play basic, fundamental baseball. I have been a Mike Elias defender all of this time, but now is the time to fire Mike Elias in the entire front office and scouting department. The whole organizational structure to develop players is completely broken. Let's face it, Al, we are witnessing a total organizational failure with the Baltimore American League Ball Club. As to the Commanders' offseason, it looks great on paper, but we won't know if the moves will work until the games are played this fall. All I know is if Jayden is healthy and the defense can actually stop the run, which is my top concern, and sack the quarterback, another big concern, then the team has a chance to contend in 2026. Thanks for taking the time to read this, Al, and have a great rest of your spring and summer with you and your family. Thank you very much for the email, Yassine. Yassine, one of many combo Commanders-Orioles fans who listen to this podcast, as I talked about on Tuesday's show, episode 1328. There still are a lot of O's fans in the Washington, D.C. area. The Nats absolutely are the MLB team of D.C., but there still are a lot of O's fans in the D.C. area. I have been a big fan of Orioles president of baseball operations and general manager Mike Elias. I very much supported the O's tanking. I talked about pain now, pleasure later. I was thrilled that the O's finally went all in on analytics, as the Nats are doing now. And the O's over the 2022 through 2024 seasons were an exciting team with good young players and seemingly a bright future. But last season was a debacle, and this season has become a debacle. The O's are being hammered by injury for a third consecutive season, but to Yassine's point, the team has plenty of problems beyond the injuries, and the bloom is off the rose with Mike Elias. His free agent signings and trade acquisitions have left a lot to be desired, and even now look at what we thought was his great drafting a little differently. So many of these previously well-regarded young Orioles players are not producing. This past Sunday, May 17th, marked the one-year anniversary of Mike Elias firing Orioles manager Brandon Hyde. This happened hours before a 10-6 loss to the Nats at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And interestingly, the O's this past Sunday also played the Nats, a 7-3 win at the Nats. But I felt this way then, and I feel this way even more now. Brandon Hyde was not the problem, okay? That could not be more clear at this point. The question is, what exactly is the problem? And the answer isn't so clear. The O's this past offseason spent a lot of money. The O's are 100% right in being all in on analytics, but something quite clearly is off with this team. Like I said, Mike Elias's free agent signings and trade acquisitions have left a lot to be desired. And as Yassine said, the team struggles to varying degrees in pretty much every aspect of the sport. The O's in MLB's 2026 regular season are 21-29 with a run differential of -59. The season isn't over. That is true. But a team that is this bad, this deep into a season, usually is, wait for it, a bad team. As for the Washington Commanders and the need for the QB1 Jayden Daniels to be healthy and for the defense to be better, if you, for the upcoming season, guaranteed me just two things, that Daniels is healthy and that the defense is at least decent, not great, just decent, I would tell you that Washington has a good season. How good? Hard to say. Playoff good, hopefully. But if you, for the upcoming season, guaranteed me that Daniels is healthy and that the defense is at least decent, I would tell you that Washington has a good season, because a healthy Jayden Daniels would almost certainly mean that the offense is at least good, if not great, and the defense being at least decent almost certainly would mean that the defense doesn't get in the way of the offense being at least good, if not great. There are plenty of other things that matter for Washington this coming season, but these two things being in effect would be massive. A, Jayden Daniels being healthy. B, the defense being at least decent. By the way, did you catch ESPN NFL analyst Herm Edwards on NFL Network's Good Morning Football this past Tuesday? Herm Edwards was Arizona State's head coach during Jayden Daniels' 3 seasons as Arizona State QB1, 2019 through 2021. This was Herm Edwards on which NFC East quarterback has the most to prove this coming NFL season.
I'm going to go this, and I'm not putting pressure on him, but Jayden Daniels. Jayden got to stay healthy, and he knows that. I love the kid. Yeah. I mean, imagine what he did his first year when he came.
I know.
Yep.
I know.
This team has the potential to do that when he's healthy. And he's just got to stay healthy. And then people say he's get hurt. So he didn't. Never got hurt for me at all at Arizona State. Played every game.
Right.
Came to every practice. So I don't want to hear that about, well, he's little. Stop. You know who he reminds me of? And I told him this when I first met him. I said, Jayden, I said, now you don't know this guy. I said, but you know who he reminds me of? Randall Cunningham.
Good one.
Same stature, Height-wise, Randall was kind of thin like Jayden, but same mechanics, the way he throw the football, his ability to run, make plays. So I think when you look at Washington, if he can stay healthy, this team is good. They got a good football team.
Yeah. Yes, they do. Health permitting. All right, Memorial Day weekend is this weekend, the unofficial start of summer. Refresh your wardrobe for summer with Quince. Quince makes ordering clothes easy. I just got new shorts from Quince, sand dune colored cotton chino drawstring shorts. Ordering the shorts took minutes, and I right away was able to figure out the right size. And the shorts are great, really comfortable, look good, and feel good with Quince. Quince has all of your wardrobe staples for spring. Think 100% European linen shorts and shirts from just $34. Everything is priced at 50 to 80% less than what you'd find with similar brands. How? Well, Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen, so you're paying for quality, not brand markup. Everything is designed to last and make getting dressed easy. Refresh your everyday with luxury that you'll actually use. Go to quince.com/Galdi for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns, now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Galdi. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Galdi. Look, choosing life insurance is tricky. Heck, life insurance as a topic can be uncomfortable, but Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. You'll get your lowest rate from Ethos' network of trusted carriers. And know this, Ethos has a rating of 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 4,000 reviews. Take 10 minutes today to get covered with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/AlGaldi. That's ETHOS.com/AlGaldi. Ethos.com/AlGaldi. Application times may vary. Rates may vary. It is next week that Washington Commanders OTAs for the 2026 offseason begin. OTAs are organized team activities. The team is conducting three-day batches of OTAs, May 27th through the 29th, June 2nd through the 4th, and June 9th through the 11th. And the team is conducting a 3-day mandatory minicamp from June 16th through the 18th. It is a pleasure to welcome back to the Al Galdi podcast Washington Commanders insider Nicki Jhabvala of The Athletic. She has covered the team since July 2020. You can follow Nicki on X at Nicki Jhabvala, and Jhabvala is spelled Jhabvala. Hey, Nicki, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. Good to talk to you. When it comes to OTAs and the mandatory mini camp, what matters? Like, we get the nature of these practices, non-padded practices from which you can't take a ton, but what, if anything, matters to you from these practices?
The communication and the coaching, I think, because like you said, you can't see a whole lot. I mean, and every little thing you see will be overblown no matter what. I think Bill Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt was like a legend, and he had yet to take more than 5 snaps in OTAs or something. So you just know everything's going to get overblown. But I think what you can see is, how are the coaches communicating with players on the field? Are players taking to the coaching? Does it look like guys have sort of, I guess, bought in? Do they look like they're on the same page? Because you can't really get a feel for the run game. You can't really get a feel for the trenches because they're not hitting. But you can get a sense for the speed, the pieces they have, the skilled players, and I look back to years past. I mean, this is when you got a sense for, okay, what's sort of the skill set they have? What are they missing in the secondary? What do they have at receiver? What are they missing at receiver? That's what you can kind of glean from these. And then, just with Jayden in particular, how is everybody's health? But also, does he seem like he's really in command of things? Do you see leadership? Things like that. But you're certainly not going to get a total glimpse of what this team can or cannot be.
Washington, of course, has a new offensive coordinator in David Blau and a new defensive coordinator in Durante Jones. You may have just answered this, but do you think that we, from these offseason practices, will be able to discern anything regarding what Blau and Jones want to do schematically?
Maybe some, but I think, again, this is where, the part that, things can get overblown is unfortunate is, there's a lot of experimentation in this phase too. So, you'll see guys working as a returner. You'll see guys playing safety that may ultimately play corner. This is where they experiment. So, I think too often it's taken as, oh, this is the hierarchy at this position. This is where so-and-so is going to play. And maybe it is, but you don't know for sure at this stage. So I think this is when we see them start to try different things. And we'll start to get a sense of, whatever they run more of. Yeah, that's probably going to be more of the focus. Sort of like the first part, I think, to a degree, but you have to also kind of keep it into context as to what you're seeing and what's not being shown.
Which guy do you think has the bigger challenge as a first-time NFL coordinator this season, Blau or Jones?
Jones, because he left a good defense to come here and to run the show, and I always think it's always going to be easier sadly, for a coach that's come from playing quarterback to quarterback coach to offensive coordinator. That track, as history has shown, has had more success and not just getting second opportunities, but ultimately landing head coaching opportunities. And it's been less so on the defensive side. And given the struggles on the defensive side over the last couple of years, I feel like there's more pressure to get it right, and there's limited time under Dan Quinn, and if things go really badly, it wouldn't surprise if Dan Quinn is, might they look for a new head coach, and then where does that leave Durante Jones? Where does it leave Blau? But Durante Jones too, because he was brought in to sort of fix this defense, and this is, it's a gamble for all sides, but I think it's a bigger gamble for certainly Quinn. And maybe, to a slightly lesser degree to Durante.
We expect Washington's QB1, Jayden Daniels, to do a session with you guys at some point during these OTA days, with the caveat of he usually does not say much in these sessions with you guys. What are some of the topics that you're looking forward to him addressing?
I think you just want to hear his view of the offense, because this is... after 2 years of working with Kingsbury and adjusting to that at the pro level, he's adjusting again. And how is that coming along? How has he tackled that? How has he used his offseason to, adjust to some of the changes that they want from him, like playing primarily under center? I think that's one of the things that young quarterbacks typically struggle with. For some reason, I don't think he'll have that much of a problem with, because it's mostly footwork usually that trips up, no pun intended. A lot of the young quarterbacks just adjusting to playing under center and getting that footwork down and the rhythm and the timing down. But he seemed to have a lot of that polished, in his first couple years. So, just seeing how he's adjusted, how big of an adjustment it's been, if he's changed anything in the way he approaches the game, his health, just in trying to protect himself more after dealing with 3 different injuries last season. So yeah, things like that. And then, the receiving core, I don't know that we'll ever get a true honest answer if he feels like they need help there, but, he is familiar with those guys, and, he is familiar with some of the names that have been rumored to possibly come and help. So
Jayden Daniels, all-time great 2024 rookie season, injury-ruined 2025 season. Do you view him as poised for a big-time bounce-back season?
I could see it. I think they had I think it was more than just Jayden in the first year. I think, he played like Superman in his rookie season. I don't know how many times you can truly replicate that. I think he's an excellent quarterback. I think he has the capability of it. But I think there was some luck involved with the team overall. I mean, especially when you compare it to last year. I mean, they had, 7 games that came down to the final play from scrimmage, and And that was in year one, in 2024, I mean. And they all went their way that year. And then last year, it felt like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. So I think some of it is luck. Some of it's going to be the schedule. I thought they would have an easier slate just looking at their opponents, but that first half is brutal. The travel could be brutal, especially when you're going, London, back home, then San Francisco, then back, and it's tough. But I want to believe that he's grown a lot and learned a lot about, what it takes at this level. So I think he could very well have, a really solid season.
The 2026 season is Jayden Daniels' final season before becoming contract extension eligible in the 2027 offseason. Whether Washington enters next offseason really wanting to sign him to a mega money contract extension, is that just about seeing if he stays healthy this coming season? Or does the team also need to make sure that he is the high-level quarterback who we saw in the 2024 season?
I think it's mostly health. I think it's being available. He missed more games than he played last season. And I think, part of it too is he should have a little bit more help around him. I want to believe he does. I mean, we'll see if that offensive line is improved. I mean, it helps that they lock down the two anchors at tackle. Can they give him more help, as pass catchers, tight end, receivers? So I think he's proved himself as a really solid quarterback, a guy that learns, a guy that puts in the work. And I don't think you find that caliber just any day. So I fully expect him to get a monster contract. But yeah, health is a big thing. That's always going to probably be the biggest thing for him. And until then, it's probably always going to garner RG3 comparisons, rightfully or not. But I think that's the most important thing for him, is just staying on the field.
And of course, Washington for Jayden Daniels could do a contract extension that pays him top of the market money while also having language that protects the team if Daniels proves to be injury prone.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many loopholes in these contracts. So you can push the guaranteed money back a little bit. There's always the salary cap is sort of real, not real. We can move. It's can be manipulated.
Absolutely. Much more with Nicki Jhabvala in moments. But if you have a case, contact Chris Nace. Contact the Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers, and mention that Al Galdi sent you. You can call 202-902-7611. You could also visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and submit for a free, no-obligation case review. The Nace Law Group features compassionate lawyers and zealous advocates for its clients, led by the great Chris Nace and founded in 1979. The Nace Law Group is a Washington, D.C.-based family law firm that handles medical malpractice, personal injury, birth injury, legal malpractice, and consumer protection cases, offering aggressive advocacy for victims in Washington, D.C. and West Virginia. The Nace Law Group is outstanding. It will fight for you and your family. The Nace Law Group has recovered millions of dollars for the sick and injured. If you have a case, contact the Nace Law Group. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C. injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. We're talking with Washington Commanders insider Nicki Jhabvala of The Athletic. You this past Tuesday came out with a piece on Washington's situation at kicker. Headline, quote, "This unheralded Commanders offseason acquisition could be one to watch," end quote, talking about kicker Drew Stevens, who is an undrafted free agent out of the University of Iowa. Head coach Dan Quinn on May 8th, during his press conference at rookie minicamp, declared a competition at kicker, Jake Moody versus Drew Stevens. And you in the piece had a tremendous stat. It has been 7 years since Washington had a kicker who over a full regular season finished at or above the league average in field goal percentage. Dustin Hopkins at 83.3% in 2019. That was some stat.
Yeah, I mean, because they re-signed Zane Gonzalez last year to a one-year deal and then brought in Matt Gay. So there's no reason to think that, Jake Moody is safe on his new one-year deal at all. But yeah, it's just been a revolving door of kickers. And honestly, it goes back to Dustin Hopkins, because I mean, shoot, remember that year when they had like Chris Blewett in there, and oh my gosh, they had like five different kickers and it was just sort of a nightmare. And then Joey Sly finally comes in. They let Joey go, and then McManus is there for all of 3 months. I mean, McManus was one of Adam Peters' first signings. It might have been his first free agent signing. They got him on a 3-year deal. Like, he was supposed to kind of be the fix to their kicker problems. But then the assault allegations came up and they had to let him go. And haven't been able to find that kicker yet. And like, I genuinely feel like, I mean, I'm a nerd, so I love this specialist. I love kicking and punting. But I mean, I feel like kicking is more important now than it's ever been. I mean, guys are flipping the field with their kicks, you know, like, I think special teams have become more important with the change in rules. I mean, how many blocked field goals did we have last year that changed games? And I think the Commanders know that. I think they do have a genuine appreciation for special teams and the value they provide, but they also need a kicker that can kick for more than 40 yards. You know, and they don't.
Jake Moody is the favorite to win Washington's kicking competition, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's the incumbent. I mean, he's proven himself to a degree, and Adam knows him well. He has experience at the pro level, which Drew Stevens does not. I think the intrigue with Drew Stevens is the big leg. You know, he can hit those 50-plus yarders. Of course, that was at Iowa. Can he do the same with an NFL rush coming to him? We'll see. But I think they had to bring in some sort of competition. I mean, he's an undrafted guy. I actually thought he might get drafted. I thought he would maybe go in the 7th round, but he didn't. But he's a bigger guy, has a big leg. And I think that's the intrigue. It's just, can he do it at the pro level, and can he do it consistently?
The departure of Dave Gardi, the Tennessee Titans on Wednesday afternoon announced having hired Washington Commanders Senior Vice President of Football Initiatives Dave Gardi as Executive Vice President of Football Operations. Gardi worked in the NFL's league office April 2003 to April 2024, was hired by Washington in April 2024, handled a number of in-game management duties, and he now is left for the Titans. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but Gardi leaving Washington is significant, correct?
I mean, he was instrumental in a lot of things they did. I mean, he was big on game days. He was on the headset. He helped build out, like, you know, the New York office for officiating. So he was on it as far as, you know, you can do this, you can't do that. I mean, you know, with the hip drop tackles, you know, he was on all of that. So he was a great sounding board. He was on the headset on game days with Quinn. So he was instrumental. I mean, he had spent more than 2 decades in the league office. But this opportunity is a huge opportunity for him. Just gonna, you know, big step up. But, you know, is he irreplaceable? I don't know. And I think they're gonna sort of backfill it for now and then kind of find somebody else. But, you know, he just had like a unique background, you know, given his knowledge of the league office, New York, everything. So yeah, he played more of a specialized role with him that, you know, how many people could do, I don't know, but.
Dave Gardi's duties with Washington were described as in-game management duties. Was he having input in in-game decisions?
Maybe not decision making, but he can talk through it with Quinn of, oh, New York, this is probably how New York views it, or this is how it's going to be replayed. Like, he's watching the replays as they come through. So he's in the booth looking at the replays. So he's sort of that other set of eyes for them on game days.
All right. It was now 2 Thursday nights ago, May 14th, that Washington's 2026 regular season schedule came out. The schedule sets up to be really tough over the first 10 games, but very manageable over the final 7 games. And if you just cut the schedule in half, so weeks 1 through 9 versus weeks 10 through 18, Washington, per Aaron Schatz's DVOA projections for the 2026 regular season as of the release of the NFL's 2026 regular season schedule, had these rankings of opponents combined projected DVOA in weeks 1 through 9 and in weeks 10 through 18. Weeks 1 through 9, number 5 in the NFL and highest combined projected DVOA of opponents. Weeks 10 through 18, number 26 in the NFL in highest combined projected DVOA of opponents. I am a Washington fan. I want Dan Quinn to succeed and be the team's head coach for years to come. But his firing as Atlanta Falcons head coach was an in-season firing, October 2020. And so here's what I'm wondering. Given how poorly Washington's 2025 regular season went, and given how difficult the first half of the team's 2026 regular season appears to be, do you view Dan Quinn as being on an especially hot seat in the first half of the regular season?
I mean, if they start 0-4, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, what coach wouldn't be in this league? I mean, I'm old enough to remember when coaches got 2 years to prove themselves. And we thought, oh my gosh, you're firing them after only 2 seasons? Now they barely get a season to prove themselves. I mean, there's the urgency to win now is at an all-time high across the NFL. And I think owners feel it and it trickles down. So, yeah, if they start off poorly and they have a tough schedule, I think he could definitely be on the hot seat early. But going in, I mean, I don't know that the schedule changes the degree of kind of his status, if that makes sense.
Another thing with Dan Quinn is this. If he was not Washington's first choice as head coach in the 2024 offseason, as many of us suspect he was not, how might that impact how long of a leash he has?
I mean, as far as whether he was first or not, they'll always say they'll always say publicly he was first. I think you can look back at sort of how things unfolded. I mean, if he was really their first choice, wouldn't they hire him on the spot instead of letting him fly back? That's been my view. You know, I just kind of read between the tea leaves there. They'll always say publicly he was the first choice. Maybe he was. But they ultimately decided to let him fly back and hopped on a flight to Detroit to try to interview Ben Johnson, and then ultimately touched base with McDonald after that, and then hired Quinn. So,
yeah, follow the actions, not the words. Washington Commanders insider Nicki Jhabvala of The Athletic. Nicki, thanks. Have a nice Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, always nice to talk to Nicki. And if you would like to grow your business or practice, consider advertising on this podcast, which as of last week was the number 56 podcast in the country on Apple Podcasts in the U.S. football category. Podcast advertising works and is very affordable. Put the power of the pod to work for you. Get your message out there to thousands of successful people in the Washington, D.C. area. We'd love to have you on board. Email us to see what we can do for you. The email address is the Al Galdi Podcast at yahoo.com. Look, choosing life insurance is tricky. Heck, life insurance as a topic can be uncomfortable, but Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. You'll get your lowest rate from Ethos' network of trusted carriers. And know this, Ethos has a rating of 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 4,000 reviews. Take 10 minutes today to get covered with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Al Galdi. That's ethos.com/Al Galdi. Ethos.com/Al Galdi. Application times may vary. Rates may vary. We've all been there. You're away for the weekend, the big game is on, and you realize you're restricted from watching. Or maybe you're trying to check the latest lines on your betting app, but your local network is blocking the site. These are the ultimate unforced errors. You can prevent this from happening to you with IPVanish. IPVanish is the powerhouse VPN designed to keep you in the game no matter where you are. IPVanish helps you stay connected to your favorite team and streaming services while you travel, but it's not just about watching the game. For the bettors out there, IPVanish provides an extra layer of security and privacy that helps you access your account safely on public Wi-Fi. Plus, IPVanish is lightning fast, so you won't have to worry about lag during those crucial live betting moments. Right now, get a massive discount at IPVanish.com. That's IPVanish.com to get started today. Secure your play and go to IPVanish.com.
Big thanks to our sponsor, BetterHelp. for partnering with us for this important conversation about mental health.
This is Steve Smith here, former NFL wide receiver and host of the 89 show on YouTube. So having a counselor and working with BetterHelp, that gives you an opportunity to really start to unpack. But people don't understand, when you unpack things, you also open up a box that you're not always sure what's inside. So I think that's why seeing a professional is extremely important. If you need someone to open up to, visit BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com/89 to get started.
Well, a rare ultra-low scoring game for the Washington Nationals in this 2026 MLB regular season, in which they continued to be number one in MLB in runs scored and dead last in MLB in runs allowed. 280 runs scored, 296 runs allowed. Not a lot of ultra-low scoring games when a team has that profile. A 2-1 loss to the New York Mets at Nationals Park on Thursday for a split of a 4-game series. The loss concluded a 4-3 homestand for the Nats, who now are 25-26, 10-16 at home versus 15-10 on the road. But the number one item from this game, from a Nats perspective, was something very good. Cade Cavalli was great. He was the Nats starting pitcher in this game. He allowed 2 runs in 7 innings with 9 strikeouts versus 1 walk. Outstanding. He gave up just 4 hits, all of which were singles. He did issue 2 hit by pitches, but he threw a lot of strikes as he over 84 pitches threw 58 strikes versus just 26 balls. Cavalli in the top of the third allowed 2 runs on a 1-out hit by pitch and then 3 consecutive 1-out singles, but he overall did so well. He per Statcast threw 5 different types of pitches, and his velocity was up on each of them, including an average 4-seam fastball velocity of 96.5 miles per hour. The 5 pitches, by the way, a 4-seam fastball, a sweeper, a sinker, a knuckle curve, and a changeup. But his stuff is a big part of why the Nats took him with the number 22 overall pick in the 2020 MLB first-year player draft out of the University of Oklahoma. As we have discussed plenty of times, it has taken a long time for Cavalli to get going as a major league pitcher, but he now is going, and he is going quite well. Cade Cavalli now in this regular season, 11 games, all starts, ERA of 3.86, whip of 1.43. The whip still is high, but the whip is coming down, and his strikeouts per 9 innings now is at 10.23. Superb. We, during Nats manager Blake Buter's postgame press conference on Thursday evening, had these exchanges.
What was Cade doing so effectively today?
He was just in the zone a ton. Like 1 walk on the day. Just looked like he was in total control, attacking early on, and his stuff's so good that when he attacks and he's in the zone early in counts, he either gets swing and miss or he's missing barrels for soft outs.
What does it mean for him? I believe back-to-back starts going into the 7th, and for him to complete the 7. Just how big is that just for his overall development? I know he wanted to finish last start too, but just what does it do for his development to finish that 7th?
Yeah, I think it proves to him that he can do that, right? And he can pitch through 7 innings and be economical with his pitches. He still had, he was under 90 pitches there through 7, which is pretty impressive against this lineup. Only giving up 2 runs and still striking out 9. Really good performance.
Yes, it was. And yeah, Cade Cavalli now has pitched into the 7th inning in each of his last 2 outings. His previous outing came in the Nats' 13-3 win over the Baltimore Orioles at Nationals Park this past Saturday. Cavalli in that game officially allowed 3 runs in 6 1/3 innings, but the last of the runs was scored with him out of the game, and he had 8 strikeouts versus no walks. The Nats relief pitching in this 2-1 loss to the Mets at Nationals Park on Thursday was good. 2 Nats relievers combined for 2 scoreless innings. Clayton Beeter tossed a scoreless and hitless top of the 8th with 2 swinging strikeouts. He did issue a 2-out walk of ex-Nat Juan Soto, did give up a stolen base by Soto, and did issue a wild pitch, but Beeter is back. The Nats on Thursday morning announced having returned Beeter from his minor league rehab assignment and having reinstated him from the 15-day injured list, which he had been on since April 26, retroactive to April 23rd due to right forearm soreness. Beeter is one of a whopping 7 Nats pitchers, each with at least 1 save in this regular season. That is something. 7 different guys already, each with at least 1 save. And Orlando Revolta somehow tossed a scoreless top of the 9th despite the Mets having the bases loaded with no outs. Revolta began the inning by giving up back-to-back singles, and then second baseman Nasim Nunez committed a missed catch error at first base on a bunt by A.J. Ewing to load the bases with no outs. So Nunez is excellent defensively, but that was a bad error. However, Revolta then retired each of the Mets' next three batters, including Nunez making a nice play, a running, leaping, backhanded catch of a liner by Luis Torrens while running across the top of the middle of the infield for the second out. And so Orlando Revolta continues to do good work. He at the major league level in this regular season now, 10 games, 10 innings, ERA of 1.80, whip of 0.80. So the Nats pitching in this 2-1 loss to the Mets at Nationals Park on Thursday, quite clearly not the problem. The offense was, and it's not often that the Nats offense this season has struggled, but the offense on Thursday was not good. The Nats in this game, just 1 run, just 5 hits, which were 2 doubles and 3 singles, 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. The Nats did draw 4 walks, but the Nats did not do much against Mets starting pitcher David Peterson. He allowed 1 run in 5 innings, a much different story from what we saw just a few weeks ago. The Nats in their 14-2 win at the Mets on April 29th, Rip Peterson. He in that game officially allowed 7 runs in 3 2/3 innings. 2 Nats players had multi-hit games on Thursday, Daylen Lyle and Keibert Ruiz. Daylen Lyle, as the Nats starting DH and number 6 batter, went 2 for 4 with a double and a single. But how about the double? Lyle, in the bottom of the 9th, had a leadoff double on a routine fly ball to shallow center field, but Mets center fielder A.J. Ewing misplayed the ball and then failed to make the catch. A gift of a double for Daylen Lyle, but still a double, and he for this regular season now has an OPS of 767. Keibert Ruiz, he is the Nats starting catcher and number 9 batter, 2 for 4 with 2 singles. He did get thrown out in an attempted steal of second base, but he also threw out a runner on an attempted steal of second base. Ruiz in the top of the 7th threw out A.J. Ewing on an attempted steal of second base for the second out. The throw was into the runner, and shortstop C.J. Abrams did a very nice job of applying the tag to the left leg of Ewing. Abrams has not been doing well defensively, but that was a nice defensive play by Abrams. But also with Keibert Ruiz, he in the bottom of the 9th came up to bat with Daylen Lyle on third, 2 outs, and the Nats down 2-1. And Ruiz, in facing Mets closer Devin Williams, had a weak first pitch ground out to Mets second baseman Marcus Semien to end the game. And that plate appearance right there was the worst of Keibert Ruiz. And he has been doing so well lately, so I do not want to criticize him too harshly, but that plate appearance to end the game is the bad Keibert Ruiz. One of the nice things about his success in this month of May is that we have been seeing the good Keibert Ruiz. We have been seeing him work more at bats. Take you back to the Nats' 8-4 win over the Mets at Nationals Park on Wednesday evening. Ruiz in the Nats' 1-run second had a 1-out RBI single into left field for a 4-1 Nats lead to wrap up an 8-pitch plate appearance in which he was down in the count at 1.12. A very nice piece of hitting there by Keibert Ruiz. A very nice plate appearance by Keibert Ruiz. We did not see that in that final plate appearance of the game on Thursday. Also on Thursday, James Wood, he is the Nats starting left fielder and number 1 batter, went 1 for 4 with a double. And Dylan Cruz, he is the Nats starting right fielder and number 5 batter, went 0 for 3 with a walk. And he committed a fielding error. Cruz in the top of the 4th committed a fielding error on a leadoff single by Brett Beatty into right field. Cruz dropped down to one knee to field the ball, and it went right off him toward right field foul territory, allowing Beatty to advance to second base. I do not want every series, let alone every game, to be a referendum on Dylan Cruz. Like, let's let his latest stint at the major league level breathe a little bit, okay? But we on this podcast discuss things as they are happening. And the truth is that the Dylan Cruz who we saw in this series against the Mets looked a lot like the Dylan Cruz who previously underwhelmed at the major league level. Cruz over 3 games in this series off the Nats on Tuesday afternoon announced having recalled him from AAA Rochester. 2 for 11 with 2 singles and a walk. But of course, small sample size. This was Blake Butera during his postgame press conference on Thursday evening on the Nats offense.
Yeah, I think overall, felt like we had a chance to win all of them. Yeah, proud of the way the guys fought today. Specifically, just ended up being a pitcher's duel. Couldn't be happier with the way Cade threw the ball. Look, their guys threw the ball well too. Peterson was awesome today. Thought we had a few opportunities, not a lot, but just didn't get that big hit with runners in scoring position.
No, you did not. And one more thing. Rest in peace, Howard Fendrich, longtime writer for the Associated Press. We on Thursday afternoon learned that he had died. He was just 55. Howard worked in the Washington, D.C. area for years. He, for years, was a staple at Washington Nationals games. This past Washington Commanders season played plenty of press conference exchanges featuring questions from Howard. He actually was best known nationally for his work in tennis. A very nice obituary on Howard by Eddie Pells of the Associated Press. Quote, Howard Fendrich, a national sports writer for the Associated Press whose persistent reporting and detail-rich prose brought readers inside dozens of taut Grand Slam tennis finals, record-breaking Olympic moments, and harrowing trips down alpine ski slopes, has died. He was 55. Fendrich died Thursday at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore. He was diagnosed with cancer in February, shortly after returning from Milan, where he covered his 11th Olympics. Tennis great Roger Federer, who estimated he'd had more than 100 interactions with Fendrich over the decades, called the journalist one of those constant and reassuring presences in the tennis world for many years. He started covering tennis in 2002, right around the time I was starting to have my breakthrough in the sport, and over time, he truly became part of the fabric of tennis, Federer said. Tennis lost a wonderful journalist and a great person, end quote. How about that? Maybe the greatest tennis player ever, Roger Federer, singing the praises of Howard Fendrich. What a testament to Howard. A statement from the Nats on Thursday afternoon. Quote, the Washington Nationals extend our deepest sympathies to the family, friends, and loved ones of Howard Fendrich. Howard's professionalism and humor earned him the respect of our players, coaches, front office staff, and all he encountered at Nationals Park. His contributions to and impact on sports journalism extend far beyond that of the Nationals press box. He will be dearly missed, end quote. Rest in peace, Howard Fendrich. Next up for the Nats is a 6-game road trip beginning with a 3-game series at the National League leading Atlanta Braves. The Nats have listed the following starting pitchers as probables for the series. Game 1 Friday night at 7:15, Miles Michaelis. Game 2 Saturday afternoon at 4:10, Jay Gervin. Game 3 Sunday afternoon at 4:10, Foster Griffin. And that'll do it for you and me for now, but there's more to come, and there will be a show for Monday, despite it being Memorial Day. Monday's show, episode 1332. We'll have a lot for you on the Washington Commanders. Also on Monday's show, I'll talk Washington Nationals and Baltimore Orioles. The Nats over Friday through Sunday have a 3-game series at the Atlanta Braves. The O's over Friday through Sunday have a 3-game series against the Detroit Tigers at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Have a great rest of your Friday. Enjoy your Saturday and Sunday, and I'll talk to you on Monday.
I'm going to go this, and I'm not putting pressure on him, but Jayden Daniels. Jayden got to stay healthy, and he knows that. Mm-hmm. I love the kid. Yeah. I mean, imagine what he did his first year when he came.
I know.
Yep.
I know.
This team has the potential to do that when he's healthy. And he's just got to stay healthy. And then people say he's get hurt. So he didn't. Never got hurt for me at all at Arizona State. Played every game.
Right.
Came to every practice. So I don't want to hear that about, well, he's little. Stop. You know who he reminds me of? And I told him this when I first met him. I said, Jayden, I said, now you don't know this guy. I said, but you know who he remind me of? Randall Cunningham. Same stature, height-wise. Randall was kind of thin like Jayden, but same mechanics, the way he throw the football, his ability to run, make plays. So I think when you look at Washington, if he can stay healthy, this team is good. They got a good football team. Yeah.